Hi everyone, how are you? Today I want to answer one of the most commonly asked questions among my students, and that is how much does it cost to own a CBCT and should I buy one? In an attempt to answer this question, I try to jot down a range of COMIM CTs that are available on the market, and it typically range anywhere from about $70,000 to $200,000 or more. But keep in mind this is a ballpark figure, and this can certainly vary, meaning you may be able to find a unit that's less than 70,000. That has actually been the case, and you may be able to find a good unit that was gently used, and you can buy a refurbished unit for well under $70,000. So just keep that in mind that this number is a just ballpark range for the new units. But in calculating the overall cost of owning a CBCT scan, I had to decide on what the life cycle is going to be, and I have put down 9 years. It seems relatively short, doesn't it? And this number is decided just based on how long our previous COMIM CT lasted at our school. That was an ICAT unit, and at about 9 years into its cycle, it was having a lot of issues, specifically having to freeze, and then we had to restart the computer very frequently. But more importantly, the company came back to us and said we will no longer be supporting any software updates or software, as well as mechanical parts, meaning if something were to break, we're kind of out of luck because they won't be able to be replacing that. Also, that machine was still running on a very old version of Windows, and they would not update their software that is compatible with the newest version of Windows at that time, which was around 2015. So essentially, it was the company's way of forcing us into buying their newest ICAT unit. So we had no choice but to buy another one. Our decision at that time was to buy ProMax 3D mid-pan, and the retail price at that time was $150,000. But what's interesting is even though this wasn't the top of the line product, by the time you added all the other associated costs, including Plumeca 3D installation, which costs $10,000, DICOM software license, another $9,000, and then ProFace 3D face scanner $17,000, impression scan $9,000. I mean, by the time you add all of them up, the retail price came out to $234,000, which is quite astonishing if you think about it. Like, how many private practitioners can put down this type of money that's close to $250,000 to buy a COMIM CT scan? Not to mention, I did not even account for any broken parts beyond the warranty period. Typically, the warranty will last anywhere from 1 to 5 years, and any broken parts beyond that, you have to pay a full price. On top of that, keep in mind many of these softwares will need to be updated every 2 to 3 years, as the company will continue to come up with newer versions, and in most cases those are not free, and that hasn't been free for us. We've recently, just last year, 2019, we paid more money to update our version of software. So I didn't even account for that. What I have put down, however, is the medical physicist calibration fee. In the state of Nebraska, you have to get your COMIM CT calibrated or checked every 2 years to make sure it's functioning correctly. So in the period of 9 years, we need to complete this 4 times, and each calibration costs $500 here in this particular state. And for you, it may be every 3 years, every 4 years, perhaps every year, and I don't know that. So using that number, I have calculated number of scans that's needed per month in order to break even. So to do that, I've divided the total cost by number of years that will potentially last. Hopefully it's going to be longer, more than that, but 9 years, and then divide by 12 months. And at our school, our limited field of view scan costs $190. So when you put the number into this equation, you have 11.5 scans in order to break even. So ask yourself, at this point, are you using or are you taking more than 11.5 scans per month? And that's using this figure. So now that was for our school, right? How about your office? Retail price, I thought I would put something a little bit more realistic. I think $100,000 is very realistic number. I have seen many orthodontists spending $100,000 slightly more in order to get their COMIM-CT scan, and I think this is very realistic number to use. Again, at least for state of Nebraska, I put down $2,000 calibration fee over the course of 8 or 9 years. And this still doesn't include like extended warranty or broken parts or any types of software updates. So keep in mind this, I think, is a relatively conservative number. So how many scans do you need per month to break even? And this, again, varies greatly depending on how much this machine will end up lasting. The longer it lasts, you don't need to take as many scans to break even. Also, your fee is higher at your office. You don't need as many scans. But again, just keep that in mind. This is the number that I am using from our school. So 102,000 divided by 9, divided by 12, divided by 190. You need to take at least 5 scans or more in order to break even. So are you in this category? Are you currently using or needing to take more than 5 scans per month? If the answer is yes, then you may consider buying COMIM-CT. But if the answer is no, then you may want to consider referring your cases to your colleagues or nearby dental school where you can get a scan for your patient at a very affordable price. And you don't have to worry about managing this machine or training their staff how to take this machine, scans and all the softwares. So I think that's a legitimate question that you should ask yourself. Just don't jump into technology just because it's really, really cool. And that could be especially true for those people who are perhaps nearing retirement, right? But again, if you're relatively young dentist, been out of school maybe 10 years or less than 15 years, then this is a new technology that you may be interested in getting into, because COMIM-CT will continue to be a big part of dentistry as far as I can see. It's not like some other technologies that will come and go, but I think this will solidly integrate into our day-to-day practices of dentistry. Anyway, I hope these figures were helpful in determining whether you need to own one and what's the actual ownership of the COMIM-CT. I will see you again. Thank you very much for your attention.